2026 marks 125 years of the Camping and Caravanning Club, and I'm here today to catch up with Ted Alexander, a club member whose encyclopedic knowledge of all things camping is probably unmatched. His collection of memorabilia stretches way back before the club's foundation, and in recent years he's generously donated much of it to the club's archive for future generations to enjoy. So Ted, what is it about camping that's kept you interested for so long?
It's an outdoor life. You know, my dad was always an outdoor person, and during the war years he used to say, oh well, you know, when the war's over we will go camping and do all these things. It did come to pass, but it took some time. So many things got in the way that we didn't finally go on a camping trip until 1951. When Dad put his tandem together, stitched up some bags, and he and I went off to Ireland via Paddington, Fishguard, the Innisfallen to Cork. The first night we camped in Blarney Square. Today, Blarney Square is nicely manicured. All the houses around are beautifully painted. It's certainly a lovely tourist attraction, but at the time we went, everything was drab, unpainted. There were cows in the square, long grass, and 3 or 4 children came out amused at these people putting up a tent in their field. So we had a wonderful 2 weeks camping around Cork and Kerry, and Dad said to me, you know, son, he says, you'll always remember this trip. And I do. But I've been to Ireland many, many times.
Thomas Hiram Holding, the club's founder. Have you actually followed any of his routes?
Oh, yes. Yes. He talks about cycling around with his friends, a couple of them, testing out different ideas as to how this might work. I've been around that route. But more importantly for me, I've been round the locks and the areas where he took his boats, and he went out to Inchigoil on Loch Corrib, I think more than once, camping, and I've camped in the same place. I followed in the footsteps a lot of Holding. I have a great admiration for that man because he was the first, if you like, trying to put it all together. And it always takes that little bit of something extra when you're first. You know, it's very easy for people who follow on afterwards and say, oh yeah, well this is easy. But it's not, you know, when you're the first person, you're sort of putting things out. It's hard. Holding was also instrumental in setting up the CTC, Cyclist Touring Club. And I was a member of that as well.
So how did you get involved in collecting so much memorabilia?
After my sea career ended, I went back to camping, of course, but I've always been interested in quality, excellence, and like so many other things in life which people seem to have forgotten or don't know, we led the world in many things. Camping is one of them. And some of the early names like Benjamin Edgington, John Edgington, Blacks, latterly Camtors were afterwards, but some of these early makes, they were important, you know. And during the 19th century, when, shall we say, the Tsar of Russia wanted to have an outdoor do at one of his palaces, he would order his marquees from Benjamin Edgington in London. We exported this stuff around the world. Again, quality all the time. In fact, it was John Edgington who equipped Scott of the Antarctic, Scott being club president for a while. But I like quality and I like the history, so it's a combination of factors, in a way, which got me there.
You mentioned Camtors. What's the link with that with the club?
Well, Camtors is unique in a way. because in the early days when Holding started the club, other people came along and said they were interested and wanted to do this and that, but didn't know about making a tent or things like that. Now, Holding was a tailor by trade, so other members started to make some equipment, tents, for those members who were interested but couldn't do it themselves. Then the First World War came along, and in a way it almost killed the club. It really did. But for one man, R.B. Searle, who was the linchpin and kept it going, then after the war, as far as I'm aware, they had to talk about it, what to do with the supplies department, because so many members wanted to keep the club as a camping club, the exercise of doing camping, and to try and separate it from the supplies department, which had become quite substantial. What to do? In the end, R.B. Searle stepped in and said he would organise the supplies department and converted it into becoming Camtors. It became a separate entity, although its headquarters initially was in the club. But the thing about Camtors was that price, as I see it, wasn't a consideration so much. It was quality, tailoring excellence and design. And Camtors tents were superb. No doubt about that, absolutely superb. If I could get hold of these tents, I would. And in many cases I did. I've slept in most of them. Good quality material, good quality tents. And Camtors are up there with the best.
Could you pinpoint a favourite?
Not really, because I tend to sort of pick a tent according to what I'm doing, how long I'm going to be somewhere. For ordinary, say, a one-night stand, I would use a nook. I've got pictures here of a nook, which I used for 2 weeks cycle tour of Ireland.
How did you transport that?
Oh, on the bike, in the back of the bike. And if I was car camping, I might use an Ithaca. But if I was going to camp somewhere for a longer period, I would like the family. Lovely tent, 8x8, 6'6" high. You know, you've got all the room you need, and it's very nice. So, we use your tent according to what you were going to do. But where did it first start? This is the point, and Holding and the club and the various machinations that happened in the beginning are instrumental in bringing forward camping for the benefit of all. You know, it's plus the fact, I think, when you look at our Britain's history, and particularly in the 19th century, so many people went out to visit parts of the world. People explored Africa, Australia, South America, Asia, and all these people used tents, and the bulk of these tents were supplied by firms in London, the Edgingtons in London. So the club carried this forward in a way, and without that, it's difficult to see how it would have become such a big thing that it did. Nowadays, as I said, it seems as though camping is giving way to more luxury in motorhomes and caravans, and I understand all that. But sometimes it's good to get back to nature.
So what do you think the club has done over the last 125 years for camping?
Well, it's been the linchpin. That is it. It is camping. Even in the 50s and 60s, if you went to a club site, it was a field of tents, and there might be a caravan in the corner. Today, it's all caravans, motorhomes, and you can hardly find a tent. This is what people want, that's fine, but for me, there's nothing wrong with being a bit basic at times. It's convenient, keeps you close to nature, gives you an opportunity to go in places and see things and do things which otherwise you can't do in a caravan or a motorhome.
Can you tell us a bit about the trip you did with the boat round Ireland?
Well, my boat, RNS A14, I've towed it to Ireland a number of times. Not recently, of course, I don't have it anymore. But I took it to Ireland principally because I wanted to sail in the same locks that Holding did, and as far as possible to try and retrace his routes, his camping sites, the positions where he camped, and the fact that he sailed around different locks, all of them, Loch Con, Loch Corrib, and so on. I've also sailed from Loch Key and the connecting canals and down Shannon for quite a few miles as well. But Holding camped, as far as I'm aware, and from what he says, twice on Inchigoil, which is a small island in the middle of Loch Corrib. And I've been out there a couple of times with this boat and camped on that island to try and get some spirit.
What sort of kit are you carrying then?
In the case of the boat, of course, I've got a car. Mm-hmm. But again, I'm carrying a lightweight tent and lightweight gear, just the same. Because a boat, you can carry much more, but nevertheless, more takes up more space. So it's helpful to have as little as possible. So when I camped on Inchigoil, I'm using a very small tent.
Look out for more gems from Ted's contributions to the club's archive throughout the 125th celebrations.